You just finished presenting a project. The nasty coworker walks over, gives you a smug half smile, and drops this line. The presentation was decent, but the numbers in part 2 looked kind of amateurish. Are you even sure you know what you're talking about? Your gut instinct is to yell back, "Excuse me, amateurish? I stayed up 3 nights straight putting this data together. Do you even know how to read a financial report before calling it amateurish?" Don't. If you say that, you've already fallen into the trap. You're playing their game on their home turf. Instead, take a breath, wipe every expression off your face. No frowning, no smirking. Keep your eyes flat and calm. Look him straight in the eye for about 2 seconds and answer in a flat, emotionless tone like a Siri voice. Noted. Thanks. Then turn back to your computer screen and keep working. No explaining, no justifying, no firing back. Cut the interaction off completely. Guess what happens in his brain? He gets thrown off. It's like he swung his hardest punch straight into thin air. He doesn't get the hit of dopamine he was craving. He might try to provoke you one more time. Can't handle a little honesty? At this point, just repeat the exact same move. Same blank face, same flat tone. Nope, I heard you loud and clear. Thanks for the feedback. When you refuse to budge from your gray rock position, the other person realizes that trying to get under your skin is both exhausting and incredibly boring. Sooner or later, they'll give up and drag their sour face off to find an easier target. Your intentional dullness is the strongest wall you can build. It can't be broken through. There will be times you can't just stay silent and play the gray rock, like during an important meeting or when you're working through a family issue. If the other person keeps attacking you or throws around words that attack your character, you need to speak up. But how do you speak up without turning it into a loud, messy shouting match? That's when we bring in trick 3, the detective tactic. This tactic runs on a core principle in neuroscience. The human brain can't process curiosity and anger at the same time. When you deliberately switch on curiosity, that hot-headed reflex automatically shuts off. Instead of bracing yourself to fight back against an attack, ask a question that throws the other person off balance. Let's put this into a real situation. At a family gathering, a relative suddenly judges you. You're so selfish, always chasing some pointless passion, and you don't even think about your future. Your instinct is to raise your voice and argue back, listing off all your struggles to defend yourself. But remember, a detective doesn't argue with a suspect. A detective goes looking for evidence. Instead of firing back sharply, stay genuinely curious, absolutely no sarcasm, and ask right back, "That's a pretty serious thing to say. I'm honestly curious, what specific thing I did recently made you think I'm selfish?" The situation flips instantly. Here's where this technique gets its power. You just force the other person's brain to switch from the emotional brain, which specializes in baseless judgments, over to the logical brain. They're forced to stop and dig through their memory for actual logical proof. In most cases, people who love passing judgment have zero solid evidence. They're just talking to satisfy some fleeting feeling. When you calmly question them back, they usually stumble, change the subject, or end up backing down. Or use it right at work. Say a coworker tosses out a snide jab in front of everyone. Come on, everybody knows the only reason you got this position is because you sucked up to the right people. Instead of turning red and rushing to defend yourself, switch into cool and collected mode. You're right, I do have a lot of good connections. Did you want me to introduce you to someone? Boom, you just threw the cold water right back at them, turning their insult into a power flex that leaves them speechless, unable to come back with anything. You're not fighting back at all, you're just gathering information. When you're the one asking the questions, you're the one controlling the game. A personal attack just got broken down and turned into an objective fact check. Now for the final piece, and the most essential weapon of all. Trick 4, separating the fact from the story. Our brain is a machine addicted to finding meaning. When something happens, no matter how neutral it actually is, your brain automatically turns it into a story. In cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, there's a foundational principle. Your anger or your pain almost never comes from the event itself. It comes from the story you tell yourself about that event. Let's take a classic example, texting. Let's say you're getting to know someone. Last night's date went great. This morning you send a text and it shows as seen. 1 hour goes by, 2 hours, then 5 hours pass. Total silent. Right away, your brain starts automatically making up a story. That's it, it's over. I must have said something wrong yesterday. They probably think I'm boring. Or maybe they're out with someone else right now. They're clearly looking down on me. The irritation starts boiling up, and your instinct is to fire back a bitter text. If you're too busy, don't even bother texting me back. Hold on. Let's stop and break this down. We need to draw a clear line between two things, the fact and the story. What's the one actual fact here? It's this. The message was read and hasn't been answered yet. Period. That's the raw data. Everything like they're looking down on me or they're bored of me is a product of your own imagination. What about the objective reality? Maybe they got stuck in an emergency meeting. Maybe they read the text while driving, meant to answer later, and then got swept up in work. Or their phone died. There are dozens of ordinary reasons that have nothing at all to do with your worth as a person. Next time you feel yourself starting to heat up over something someone did, take a step back and ask yourself, what's the actual fact here? And what's the story I'm making up in my head? For example, say your boss sends a curt email with just 2 words, redo this. Fact, your boss is asking you to redo the project. Story, assumption, my boss hates me. I'm about to get fired. Rewritten story based on the facts. My boss is really busy, so he kept it short, and this part of the work just needs to be more accurate. Once you learn to cross out the baseless assumptions and stick only to the raw facts, your emotions will automatically settle back down to neutral. Don't let your own mind invent attacks that were never actually there. Once you've practiced these 4 tricks until they feel natural, you'll notice an amazing shift, not just inside your own mind, but in how the outside world treats you. In any social setting, from the office conference room to the family dinner table, the person who keeps the coolest head is always the one who controls the situation. Composure is the ultimate biological signal of confidence. You don't need to puff yourself up or raise your voice to prove your strength. When the people around you realize that cheap provocations and emotional manipulation don't work on you at all, they'll unconsciously start to be more careful with you and to respect you. They understand that you have a solid mental filter that they can't just break through whenever they feel like it. On top of that, let's look at the energy side of things. From a neuroscience standpoint, anger is a brutal glucose burning machine. Every argument, every time you lose your temper, drains your mental resources and wears out your nervous system. When you stop throwing your focus into pointless fights, you get your brain's entire bandwidth back. You can use that extra energy for strategic thinking, getting more done at work, making money, or simply enjoying a full day without anyone bothering you. You're no longer some machine running on conditioned reflexes. You've taken back your remote control, and you've officially stepped into a completely different game. So here's a real-world exercise for you. Next time some idiot deliberately tries to push your buttons, and trust me, this will definitely happen, don't get annoyed and write it off as a bad day. Look at it as a free psychology test that life just threw at you. Smile a little on the inside. Take a deep breath to kick off the pause. Look at their storm through the weather mindset. Stay flat and calm like a gray rock if they're trying to manipulate you. Be sharp like a detective if you need to fire back, and always remember to separate the raw fact from the story you're making up. Your mind is the most valuable piece of real estate you own. Don't open the door and let just anyone move in for free and trash the place. The remote control to your emotions is in your hands, so hold on to it tight.